The night my heart stopped beating was the same night I learned what it truly means to be alive. They say love is patient. They say love is kind. But nobody tells you that love can also be cruel, that it can burn you from the inside out, that it can make you choose between breathing and living, between duty and truth, between the crown on your head and the only person who ever saw what was underneath it. My name is Princess Nia, and I need you to understand something before I tell you this story. I didn't fall in love. I collided with it. Like two rivers meeting in a storm, violent and inevitable and completely beyond my control. I was 7 years old when they told me who I would marry. 7. I didn't even know what marriage meant. I thought it was a kind of dance. My father, the king of Eliaba, sat me on his knee and said, "One day, my daughter, you will unite two kingdoms. You will marry Prince Jabari. It is your destiny." Destiny. That word followed me like a shadow for the next 11 years. Everywhere I went, someone reminded me of my destiny. Every dress was for my destiny. Every lesson in diplomacy, every curtsy, every forced smile at visiting dignitaries, all of it preparing me for a future I never chose. Prince Jabari visited often. He was handsome in the way a painting is handsome. Perfect lines, cold eyes. He spoke to me like I was a prize he'd already won. He never asked what I wanted. He never asked what I dreamed about. He looked at me the way my father looked at maps. Territory to be claimed. By the time I turned 18, I had perfected the art of disappearing inside myself. I could stand in a room full of people and be completely alone. I smiled when they expected it. I nodded when they required it. And inside, I felt nothing. Just nothing. Until the night I met him. It was 3 months before my wedding. The palace was already preparing. Tailors measuring, musicians rehearsing, gold leaf being applied to every surface as if we could paint over the emptiness with wealth. I couldn't breathe in there anymore. The walls were closing in. So I did something I'd never done before. I ran. I wrapped myself in my chambermaid's old brown shawl and slipped out through the servants' passage. No guards, no titles, just me, anonymous, in the darkness, walking toward the village like I was walking toward oxygen. The village square was alive. Fire dancers spun flames into the night, children laughed, old women clapped to rhythms that seemed older than time itself. And in the center of it all, there was a circle of drummers. Young men with sweat glistening on their skin, hands moving so fast that they blurred, creating a heartbeat that made the earth itself seem to pulse. One drummer stood out, not because he was louder, because he was different. While the others attacked their drums, he conversed with his. His hands moved like he was telling a story only the drum could understand. His eyes were closed, his face tilted toward the sky, and I swear to you, I could feel his heartbeat in that rhythm. That's when the wind picked up, sharp and sudden. It tore the shawl from my head before I could catch it. The fabric flew through the air, and without opening his eyes, without missing a single beat, his hand shot out and caught it. The drumming stopped. He opened his eyes, and the world shifted. I don't know how else to describe it. It was like every moment of my life before that was in black and white, and suddenly, violently, everything was in color. His eyes were the deepest brown I'd ever seen, warm, like the earth after rain. And they looked at me like he was seeing me. Not Princess Nia, not the king's daughter, not a political alliance, just me. He smiled. Not a courtly smile, a real one, with a slight crookedness that made my heart stumble. "I believe this is yours," he said, holding out my shawl. I took it. Our fingers touched for half a second. Lightning. "Thank you," I whispered, suddenly forgetting every eloquent speech I'd ever been taught. "You're not from the village," he said. Not a question, an observation. "I'm visiting." "Visiting yourself, it looks like. Running from something? How did you—" "I know that look. I've worn it myself." He gestured to the empty space beside him on the stone wall. "Want to sit? Or do you need to keep running?" I should have left. I should have pulled the shawl back over my head and disappeared into the night. But I sat down. And for the first time in 18 years, I told the truth. I'm getting married in 3 months to someone I don't love. Someone I don't even like. And everyone keeps telling me how lucky I am. He didn't laugh, didn't offer empty comfort, just nodded slowly. "My name is Kato. I'm a fisherman. I wake up before the sun. I smell like fish most of the time. I own nothing but a boat that leaks and a drum that belonged to my father. By your world standards, I'm nobody." "By my world standards," I said quietly, "I'm not a person. I'm property." He looked at me for a long moment. "Then maybe your world has it backwards." We talked until the moon moved across the sky. He told me about the river, about how water doesn't ask permission to flow. It just finds its way. He told me about fishing in the early morning, when the mist makes the world look like a dream. About his mother who died when she was young, and how he plays the drum to feel close to her. I told him things I'd never told anyone. About feeling trapped, about missing a version of myself I never got to meet, about wondering if there was more to life than duty and gold and arranged marriages to men with empty eyes. When dawn started to break, he said, "Will I see you again?" I should have said no. I should have walked away. I should have remembered my destiny. Instead, I said, "Tomorrow night, same place." He smiled. "I'll bring my drum. You bring yourself. The real you. Not the running one, not the trapped one, just you."
Tomorrow night became every night. 1 week became 2. 2 became a month. We met under the old flame tree by the river, the one with roots so deep they say it's been there since the kingdom was founded. That tree became our witness, our sanctuary, our truth. Kato taught me things the palace never could. He taught me to fish, my hands alongside his in the cool water, laughing when I squealed at the feel of scales. He taught me to drum, his hands guiding mine, his breath warm on my neck as he whispered, "Feel it, don't think it, feel." I taught him the songs of the old kingdom, the ones sung only in the royal chambers. He closed his eyes when I sang, and tears slipped down his face. "Why are you crying?" I asked. "Because your voice sounds like freedom," he said, "and I'm realizing how much of your life you've spent in chains." We talked about everything, about what makes a life meaningful, about whether love is destiny or choice, about the difference between existing and living. And we fell in love. Not the love of poems or songs, the raw, terrifying, all-consuming love that changes you at the cellular level. The kind that makes you understand why people do impossible things, why they cross oceans, why they fight wars, why they burn. One night, lying in the grass beside the river, his hand in mine, he said, "If you could do anything, go anywhere, be anyone, what would you choose?" "This," I whispered. "I would choose this every time." He turned to face me. "Nia, we can't keep meeting like this forever. Someone will find out." "I know." "Your wedding is in 6 weeks." "I know." "Tell me what you want, really want, not what they've told you to want." I looked at him, at this fisherman who saw me, this man who asked me questions no one else thought to ask, this person who made me feel like I was enough just by existing. "I want to run away with you," I said. I want to disappear into the world where nobody knows my name, where I'm not a princess or a treaty or a destiny, or I'm just a woman who loves you. Then let's do it, he said. We can't. Why not? Because I'm a princess, because people depend on me, because kingdoms rise and fall, he said, sitting up, urgent now. But you only get one life, Nia. One. And you're spending it making everyone happy except yourself. It's not that simple. Why not? And I didn't have an answer. Because deep down, I knew he was right. But I was terrified. Terrified of disappointing my father, terrified of causing a war, terrified of choosing myself. Give me time, I whispered. Let me figure out how to do this without destroying everything. He kissed my forehead. I'll wait for you, even if I have to wait forever. But forever came too soon, and in the cruelest way. 1 week later, I was careless, distracted by happiness. I didn't notice the palace guard following me into the village. Didn't see him hiding in the shadows as Kato and I kissed under the flame tree, as we laughed, as we planned our escape. The next morning, I woke to screaming. I ran to my window. In the courtyard below, surrounded by guards, was Kato, on his knees, hands bound, blood already staining the ground. I screamed, tried to run to him. My attendants held me back. My father entered my chambers, his face stone. You have disgraced this family. You have disgraced your kingdom, and you have disgraced your future husband. Father, please. He will be punished, and you will watch, so you remember what happens when you forget your place. They dragged me to the courtyard, forced me to stand on the balcony as they whipped him. 10 lashes. I counted every one. I felt every one. His screams tore through me, like the whip tore through his skin. He fell forward after the 8th lash. I thought he was unconscious, but then he lifted his head, found my eyes, and through split, bleeding lips, he said loud enough for everyone to hear, "No pain will make me forget her name." They hit him 2 more times. He didn't make a sound, just kept his eyes on me. When it was over, they threw him outside the palace gates like garbage. My father took me by the arm, his grip iron. You will marry Prince Jabari in 2 weeks. You will smile, you will obey, and you will never speak that fisherman's name again. Do you understand? I said nothing. He slapped me. The first time he'd ever struck me. Do you understand? Yes, I whispered. But I was lying. I understood nothing except that I loved Ko more than I'd ever loved anything. And that love was the only real thing I'd ever known. They locked me in my chambers, guards at every door. They took my shoes so I couldn't run. But they couldn't take my mind or my heart. For 2 weeks, the palace prepared for my wedding like nothing had happened. Musicians rehearsed, flowers were arranged. My wedding dress hung in my room like a beautiful ghost. Prince Jabari visited once. He sat across from me in my chambers, smiled his cold smile, and said, "I know about the fisherman." My blood froze. "I know you think you love him, but you'll forget. Love fades, princess. Power doesn't. Kingdoms don't. After we're married, after you've given me sons, you'll thank me for saving you from that foolish fantasy." "I will never love you," I said quietly. His smile widened. "I don't need your love. I need your womb and your name. The rest is irrelevant." He left, and I realized I'd rather die than live that life. The wedding day arrived. The palace had never looked more beautiful. Lanterns everywhere, gold leaf on every pillar, musicians playing, dancers performing. The entire kingdom had come to witness my destiny. I stood in my chambers, wearing a dress worth more than most people would see in a lifetime, feeling like I was wearing my own tomb. My attendant fastened the last piece of jewelry, a necklace of rubies that felt like a noose. "You look beautiful, Your Highness," she whispered. I looked like a corpse. but I said nothing. The drums began, the signal. Time to descend, time to marry, time to end. I walked down the stairs in a daze. Faces blurred, music sounded like it was underwater. I reached the great hall. Prince Jabari stood at the altar, smug and satisfied. The ceremony began. Words I didn't hear, vows I didn't mean. When it came time to place the ring on my finger, I looked at Jabari's hand, reaching for mine, and I couldn't do it. I pulled my hand back. The hall fell silent. I can't, I whispered. What? Jabari's face went from shock to rage in seconds. I can't marry you. Louder now, clearer. I don't love you. I'll never love you. My father stood. Nia. I'm sorry, Father. I know this isn't what you wanted. I know you arranged this to protect the kingdom, but I can't trade my life for peace. I can't be the sacrifice. You selfish. Maybe I am. Tears streamed down my face. Maybe choosing to live is selfish, but I'd rather be selfish than dead inside. He grabbed my arm hard. You'll regret this. The only thing I regret, I said, pulling my arm free, is not doing this sooner. I turned and I ran. Out of the hall, through the palace, guards tried to stop me. I dodged, my dress tore, I kicked off my shoes. I was faster without them. I ran towards the only place that ever felt like home. The flame tree, the river, him. Behind me, I heard shouting, chaos, and then I smelt it. Smoke. I turned. The palace was on fire. Flames poured from the east wing, spreading fast. In his rage, he had overturned a candelabra and never noticed. Or maybe he did notice. Maybe he wanted to burn it all down if he couldn't have me. People were screaming, running. The celebration had become a catastrophe. I should have kept running, but I thought about the servants trapped inside, the children, the elderly. I couldn't just leave them. I turned back towards the flames.